Have you ever felt that a breakup left you not just sad, but as if your entire future had been ripped away from your life? As if it wasn't just a relationship that ended, but your chance was gone? As if the pain wasn't just about the person, but about what that person meant to you? How do you get over it if you thought they were the love of your life? How do you go on without your other half or soulmate? How do you stop thinking about him or her if they were your destiny? Here comes a question that could change everything. What if it's not that you can't get over the relationship, but that you're trying to heal with false beliefs about love? Because many of us were taught about love as if it were a religion, unquestionable, predestined, sacred, and absolute. And when something becomes unquestionable, it becomes a cage, a prison. Today, I want to help you see something that at first sounds a bit provocative, but in the end is very liberating. One of the main ways we were programmed since childhood made us have a very distorted and mistaken perception of love. That programming can make getting over someone very difficult if this is your first time here. My name is Johnny Abraham. I'm a best-selling author, international speaker, and emotional educator. And I've seen something repeat itself over and over again in hundreds of people and couples who have studied with me. And it's that many people are not trapped by their ex, they're trapped by what their ex meant in their mind. You may not agree with me, and that's normal, because when a belief is deeply ingrained, it doesn't feel like a belief, it feels like an absolute truth. That's the most dangerous part, that you don't realize you learned it, but you assume it as if it were a universal truth. Did anyone ever tell you, hey, this is a commercial narrative to sell you Disney movies or romantic songs or jewelry? No, they gave it to you as if it were the reality of love. So you grow up thinking that love is the one or the destined person or your soulmate, or if they leave, everything is over, or if it hurts, it's because it was real, because in love you suffer. And when a relationship ends, well, you're not just crying over someone, you're crying over a myth. I want to tell you an example about the diamond ring. For decades, people believed that if a man truly loves, he must give a diamond ring. And today, in these times, it feels so natural that no one asks why. Who asks? It was always like this. It's a lifelong tradition since cavemen, right? No, it was a very well executed advertising campaign to sell diamonds when the market was saturated. And that became a massive cultural belief. It settled in, it became normalized. And today, most people have already forgotten that it was marketing. They believe it's a natural part of culture and love. That's why people experience it as the truth. People can be programmed with invented ideas until they seem natural, and then with modern love, exactly the same thing happens. I'm not saying that romanticism is bad. I'm saying that when you turn fiction or marketing meant for you to consume into your life guide, clearly something's not going to be right and you'll end up breaking down. Movies, if you notice, romantic movies, Disney movies in general, end at the wedding, or when they're a couple, or when they kiss. But does life really start after they get married, or when you have to maintain the relationship? Movies romanticize intensity, but real life as a couple needs stability. Movies tell you that if it's love, you're going to feel it inevitably, it's going to sweep you away, and it's going to happen whether you want it or not. But it's not like that. Real love is built with decisions. Now, I want to tell you about one of my students who I think will really illustrate everything we're talking about. Her name is Daniela. Daniela grew up with a mother who idealized suffering for love. Her mother never left her father, even though the relationship drained her. So, the phrase Daniela heard throughout her childhood was, true love hurts, true love hurts. If it hurts, it's because it's real. And she didn't hear it in words, Daniela heard it through example. That's where she learned something, that pain is proof of love, and that letting go means you never truly loved. On the other hand, Andrés grew up as the son in whom his mother placed all her hopes. Andres's father left when he was 7 or 8 years old, and his mother, without meaning to, placed an invisible burden on Andres. Not by telling him directly, but through all the dynamics. Now you are the man of the house and you can't let me down. You are different from your father and you will stay with me. So Andres learned something, also without words, but through example and dynamics, that his worth depended on not abandoning anyone, and that leaving meant betraying, but not leaving by abandoning, rather being free and living his own life meant betraying. So when they met, Daniela, my student, felt that she had finally found the one. Andres, on his side, felt that finally someone needed him, just like his mom. Someone really needed him. But what was really happening was this. She needed someone to confirm her belief that love is suffering, and he needed someone who would make him feel indispensable so he wouldn't repeat his father's story. This wasn't destiny, it was a wound looking for another wound, it was compatibility through trauma. So the relationship was intense. They fought, they made up, they swore eternal love, they destroyed each other, they got back together, and every time they broke up, Daniela would say, well, if it hurts this much, it's because he's the love of my life. So, in a way, she also encouraged all of this. She co-created it with him, with Andres, all of this because she believed that was love. And Andres, for his part, would say, if I leave, even though this hurts me and I don't want to be here and the relationship isn't moving forward, I'm going to be just like my dad. If you notice, both of them were trapped, but not in each other, not in the relationship, but in their own ghosts. She didn't love Andres, she loved the intensity that confirmed all the chaos she co-created with Andres, because she would say, this is what love is. And he didn't love Daniela, but rather he loved the feeling of, look at how, despite all the chaos, she adores because she thinks that's love. I don't leave her because I don't want to be like my dad. Of course, none of this is conscious. Do you realize this then, when Daniela, going through all this with me as my student, finally understood that pain wasn't proof of love, but proof of a pattern? She managed to let go, but not because she stopped feeling, but because she stopped believing that suffering means loving. I ask you, who's listening to me? What myth about love has you trapped? What belief or information did you inherit and internalize as your own that makes you hold on to what hurts you? Ask yourself that question and answer it. That belief is especially cruel because it forces you to think that love is scarcity, that there is a perfect person for you somewhere on the planet, and if you lose them, you are doomed. With that belief, does your brain interpret reality, the breakup, as an existential disaster? And that's why you can't let go, because letting go in that narrative would mean giving up your only chance at happiness. But here's a truth that gives you back your breath and your power. There are many people in the world who are compatible with you, not just one. And compatibility is not destiny, it's a combination of values, maturity, life path, vocation, choice, and circumstances. Your person is not just one, your person is someone you can build with. And that can be one person in different parts of the world, in different places, as long as they want the same thing as you. And when your mind understands that, the pain changes. But not because the love you lived was a lie, but because it stops being irreplaceable. You already know that you don't have to live only in chaos and endure it to say this is love, but you know that there's something better that starts with you. Without a doubt, and something that almost no one dares to say, is that sometimes what ties you down the most isn't the person you're with. It's the idea of what could have been, the idea of if we had done things, the idea that we were perfect, the idea that we had a beautiful house, that we already had a family. That idea keeps you in a limbo, and your brain only stops holding on to the fantasy when it finds evidence that another kind of love is possible for you. It's not that your ex is unforgettable, it's that you still haven't dismantled the myth of scarcity. Does that make sense so far? Love doesn't guarantee compatibility, maturity, or timing. You can love someone, feel wonderful about that person, and still not be able to build something together. That doesn't invalidate what you felt, it just means that having strong feelings for someone isn't enough. You need to have skills, you need to prepare yourself and put love into it. In fact, even in difficult moments, you have to do your best. Because that's when love is needed the most, but not love as a feeling, love in action. Now, another very false belief that I want to address today, besides the one we've already talked about, it's the famous phrase, if it hurts this much, it means it was my destiny. I mean, if it hurts this much, not being with that person means that I love them and they were meant for me, right? The pain also comes from attachment, from idealization, from emotional dependence, from the identity you placed there and now feel you've lost. Pain is not always proof of something right. Sometimes it's proof that there's simply something unresolved. Another very false belief is that you'll never find someone like them again. That belief that you'll never find someone like your ex because you're idealizing your ex is completely false. You don't need someone the same. In fact, you need someone better and more compatible with you to build the love you dream of. And I don't mean a better person with better values, but someone more aligned, more consistent, more reciprocal, and more present. I mean, someone more ready to embark on this life project called love and this journey of self-discovery together called love. When your mind lets go of these beliefs, something beautiful happens, which is that you regain your power. You stop begging for what ended, you stop chasing a fantasy, you stop looking at the past as a temple, you step out of there and start seeing the past only as a lesson. You no longer live there. And that doesn't erase the sadness, but it takes away the poison, and that's the point. Sadness is human, and it's an emotion that comes to tell you something. But the poison is the story you tell yourself from that sadness. Does that make sense so far? Every time a myth or a belief like this, which is so false, pops into your head, respond to the myth with the truth. For example, that person was the only one for me. That's the false belief. So, challenge it and answer yourself with something different. Like, yes, they were an important person, but they're not my only possibility. Or, for example, the famous phrase, without him or without her, I can't be happy. Change your perspective. Tell yourself a different story. Interpret things differently and say something like, my happiness won't be canceled by a loss. It will be rebuilt from there. Another example, the famous, if I let it go, I'm betraying what we lived because it was beautiful. Contrast it, change your story, change your narrative, because letting go doesn't erase anything. Letting go means that from now on you make yourself a priority and honor your own life instead of a relationship that no longer exists. That is emotional reprogramming. It's emotionally nourishing yourself again. It's telling yourself better stories. It's learning to think better, to feel better, to act better, and to get better results. And of course, it feels a little strange at first because you're changing stories that you were told since you were a child, but with repetition. In the way you think, feel, act, and see those results, your mind adjusts and learns, neuroplasticity happens, you reconnect, and then what was impossible now turns out to be totally possible. You're not behind for not getting over a relationship quickly. You're trying to heal from a narrative you were made to believe, and when you change the narrative, you don't become less romantic. You become freer, more capable of loving without losing yourself, more capable of choosing, not depending. Please remember, Daniela, my student, wasn't trapped by Andrés. She was trapped in the myth that suffering was love. The day she dismantled that belief, thanks to the process we went through, she didn't stop feeling, she stopped confusing pain with destiny. Healthy romanticism doesn't say, I'm nothing without you. It says, I'm happy with you, but I'm also happy with myself because I exist for myself first. It doesn't say, you're my destiny. It says, I choose you every day. As long as this is a healthy place, as long as we are building and there is progress, it doesn't say if you leave me, you'll destroy me. It says if you go, it will hurt, yes, but I will survive and I will rebuild myself. It's not that you can't let go, it's that you were taught to believe that letting go meant losing everything, and today you're learning that letting go can also mean freedom. If you want to go deeper with this, to get over breakups, heal emotional dependency, break down beliefs and romantic myths, and heal attachment, I can help you. I have a free class with 3 keys to stop suffering for love and start loving yourself. I also have one-on-one sessions, group sessions, books, workshops, and courses. Where can you find all of this? In the link I leave for you in the description of this episode and also in my Instagram profile. Please tell me in the comments, which myths about love were the hardest for you to let go of? Because sometimes putting it into words is the first step to stop believing it. And please don't forget to help me with a like so more people can see this video. Subscribe to the channel so you can watch the next ones I publish. And remember, it's not that you can't let go, it's that you were taught to believe that letting go was losing, but no, it's winning. Winning a new stage and a new opportunity. See you in the next episode.